Royal secrets that shook. Dubai. Never expected. This about Hamdan's queen. Poetry, English poetry. Dubai woke under a pale gold sky. The towers breathed quiet light. Morning moved like a careful witness. Across glass, water, and stone, a story walked without footsteps. Through halls of attention, not loud, not announced, yet heavy as destiny. Royal secrets do not shout. They travel like desert wind, seen only by the bending of palms, felt only by those who listen. Dubai never expected this silence to speak so clearly, never expected a name to glow without noise. Hamdan stood as the city knows him, calm, measured, forward-looking, a prince shaped by horizon, and duty shaped by dawn. Beside him a presence, not made of shadow, not made of display, but of steady flame. The queen of his days carried no hunger for spectacle. Her power was stillness. Her crown was restraint. People searched for gold, for scandal, for shock, but found instead a deeper surprise. They found grace, not rehearsed, not borrowed, grace grown in private hours, where no cameras breathe. In quiet rooms, she learned the weight of the nation, the language of patience, the art of listening. Dubai expected glitter, expected a thunder entrance, expected history to repeat in familiar colors, but history changed its robe and walked softly, teaching the city a new definition of strength. This was the secret that shook the towers, that moved through markets and paused traffic and thought. That royalty can be gentle, that influence can be kind, that leadership can lean toward mercy. Hamdan did not explain. He did not need to. The city read his choice. Like a poem written in light, children spoke her name. Without being taught, elders nodded slowly. Understanding arrived on its own. No scandal, no fire. Just realization that love can be disciplined and still be vast. Dubai learned a lesson, not carved in stone, but written in behavior and repeated by example. The queen walked among expectations and did not bend to them. She reshaped them with quiet courage. In the desert night, stars watched approvingly, for they know the power of calm fire. This secret was never hidden. It was simply not loud, and the world mistook silence for absence. Now the city remembers that the strongest waves move beneath the surface, changing shores forever. Royal secrets remain, but this one was given, not as shock, but as truth. Dubai never expected that the greatest surprise would be dignity, walking hand in hand with love. The city continued breathing after the whisper became known, not louder than before, but deeper. Dubai watched its own reflection in glass towers and calm water and saw something change. Within itself, expectation once ran ahead of every royal story, chasing sparkle and rumor, like heat over sand. But this time the air cooled, and minds slowed. People listened differently, as if taught by patience. Hamdan moved through days with the same steady rhythm, but eyes noticed more than they had before. Beside him, the queen was not an echo. She was alignment, a balance the city felt. She spoke rarely in public, yet her silence instructed. In markets and homes, in private conversations, women paused and understood. That power need not announce, that respect can arrive. Without demand, men observed a different strength, not built on command, but on consistency and trust. Children sensed safety without knowing why, as if the future had softened its voice This was the second truth. Dubai did not expect that royalty could teach without teaching. No speeches carved the lesson, no banners carried it, yet it traveled faster than noise. In cafes, people reflected, not on wealth, but on restraint, not on image, but on intention. The Queen carried heritage, like a folded letter, close to the heart, unread by strangers. She honored the past, without being bound by it. She respected tradition, while allowing breath. Hamdan watched the city as it adjusted its gaze, not upward in awe, but inward in thought. Leadership shifted shape, becoming less about height, more about direction, less about spotlight, more about shadow. The desert understands this. Sand moves quietly, yet reshapes the land with time. So did this presence. So did this choice, working slowly, under daily light. Dubai learned that surprise does not always arrive loud. Sometimes it settles and asks you to grow. There were no answers given, only examples lived, and that was enough for change to begin. Even critics softened, finding nothing to hold against dignity, worn naturally. This was not perfection, but sincerity, and the city recognized the difference. Nights grew reflective, lights less aggressive, as if the skyline itself lowered its voice. From balconies, people wondered, not who she was, but what she represented and why it felt necessary. The answer did not come as explanation. It arrived as calm, shared across distance. This was the deeper shock. Not scandal, but stability. Dubai never expected that peace could feel so powerful. And as days continued, the city carried forward a new understanding that royalty at its best does not rule from above, but walks beside, showing the way. This lesson stayed, not as rumor, but as atmosphere, and the Queen remained, not a headline, but a steady presence, changing the city without ever trying. Time moved forward, but something stayed, like a quiet alignment between heart and horizon. Dubai carried the days gently, as if aware of its own learning. Streets shone with purpose, not urgency. The story did not fade. It matured, like meaning does when allowed space. Hamdan remained unchanged, yet newly understood. His silence read differently. His presence weighed deeper. Beside him, the Queen continued without performance, without defense, without explanation. People stopped asking what they once demanded. Curiosity softened into respect. This was the third truth, never expected, that the absence of drama could hold attention. In offices and homes, conversations shifted from rumor to values, from noise to substance. The city noticed details previously ignored. How calm decisions outlast loud promises. How steadiness builds trust. How patience builds legacy. How love, when disciplined, becomes leadership. The Queen did not claim space. She created it, and others found room to breathe. She was seen in gestures, not gestures staged, but gestures lived. Over ordinary hours, a lowered voice, a careful pause, a shared understanding. Without instruction, Dubai learned maturity, not through age, but through example, repeated daily. Even the skyline responded. Lines felt cleaner, lights felt intentional, as if architecture listened. The desert beyond the city held the same wisdom. That strength is quiet and endurance unseen. Children growing into memory would not recall shock. They would recall balance as something normal. This was how history changed. Not by force, but by repetition of what works. Hamdan walked forward, not pulling the future, but inviting it with consistency. The queen walked beside, not behind, not ahead, but aligned. This alignment shaped perception. More than any statement, more than any display ever could. People stopped looking for secrets and started noticing patterns of integrity, of restraint. This was the final surprise, that nothing else followed. No twist, no reveal, just continuity, just behavior, just values. Sustained. Dubai accepted this gift without ceremony. Understanding arrived. Without announcement, that true royalty does not need defense, does not need myth, does not need excess. It needs presence. It needs clarity. It needs courage. To remain simple, the queen remained simple, and in doing so, became profound. Hamdan remained steady, and in doing so, became visible. Together they offered, not fantasy, but foundation. The city rested into this truth, like sand settling. After wind passes, no one spoke of shock anymore. They spoke of example. They spoke of direction. They spoke of future, and the future listened. This was not the end, but the tone set for what followed, a reminder written, not in ink, but in conduct. That dignity endures. That calm persuades. That love aligned with duty builds nations. Dubai carried this forward as part of itself, unquestioned, integrated, and the royal secret, once thought hidden, was now understood, that the greatest power is lived, not announced.